Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. This is Nitin Sridhar and welcome to yet another session of Weekend with Wisdom. Let me begin with a small prayer. Vakratunda Mahakaya Koti Surya Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Hari Om. Today we have a very special guest joining us all the way from Mumbai, Shri Srinivasan Iyengar ji. Thank you, sir, for making time for this session. And he will be speaking on a very important, very interesting topic, I would say, on Maya, the power of Ishvara. Maya has been very controversial topic throughout the history of Vedanta, but also very attractive, very interesting topic. Maya is mystery, Maya is illusion, Maya is magic, Maya is power. So many aspects, and Adi Shankaracharya Bhagavad has written a very beautiful Prakarana Grantha called Maya Panchakam, and I believe Srinivasanji will be taking us through a roller coaster ride of Maya through many different texts, but anchored on Maya Panchakam. Before I give the floor, so to say, to the speaker, let me just briefly introduce him. Shri Srinivasan Iyengar has had a career spanning more than 30 years in Middle East, India, and Singapore. He has worked with international banks and multiple senior management roles, and he is a chartered accountant from India and chartered financial analyst in US. And he currently lives in Mumbai with his wife and two children. Over the past 5 years, after taking his early retirement, he has engaged himself fully to training civil servants and doing lots of classes and talks, etc. on Vedanta. He has been engaging with Bhagavad Gita, Bhagavatam, Viveka Chudamani, Panchadashi, teaching them for many years now. And he also has done about leadership and personality development and many other things. Thank you for taking time and coming on our show, sir. We are very grateful to have you here. Uh, please go ahead. You can start your session.
Thank you very much. I'm audible, right?
Yes.
I'm just going to share my screen. You can tell me whether the screen share is coming through. Great. Yeah, it's coming through?
Yes.
Okay, wonderful. So thank you very much, Nitinji, for inviting me here. And thank you very much to whoever will be listening to this show now and on YouTube later or on Facebook later. Thank you for taking the time out. Let's start with a brief prayer with 3 Om, Sanavatu and the Guru Stotra. Oh. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahana Bhunattu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. For those who are not familiar with the Sanskrit terms or Indian prayers, then this is the prayer of togetherness. The most important word in this prayer is the word Saha. It repeats itself many times over in this prayer of Sahanavatu Sahanavatu Sahaviryam Karavavahai. So there is an emphasis laid on togetherness. Saha means together. There is an emphasis laid on togetherness in this prayer, which is why most adhyatmic processes in Sanatana Dharma are seen as group study processes. where a satsang is necessary for us to engage with the scripture, and in the satsang, Prashnottari is also necessary. So I hope that as part of today's session, that there will be questions from whoever is part of the audience, and we'll take it forward like that, if there is an audience watching this session live. So the togetherness is very important in our culture. The second mantra we'll be chanting is the thankfulness mantra. Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwaraha, Guru Sakshat Parabrahma, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Our Param Pujya Guruji calls this the thankfulness mantra, Kritagnyata mantra. Why it is Kritagnyata? It is referring to the Guru. That is because the reason why we are able to hold texts like Gita, Vivek Chudamani, and the Upanishads, and Jivan Mukti Viveka, Panchadashi, etc. in our hands today, is because of the glorious Guru Shishya Parampara that existed in our country over so many years, right? And what was the unitary purpose of that Guru Shishya Parampara? The unitary purpose of that Guru Shishya Parampara was to pass on the knowledge of the scriptures unadulterated, unedited, not added to, but faithfully by heart, and pass on this knowledge of the scriptures, so that till the time we could get printed books, and then now we are holding books in our hands and reading them and enjoying them and seeing what is the real dharohar of Indian, being an Indian and being a Hindu at that. The real dharohar for us is our scriptures. So this is the Kritagnyata mantra which we chant in thankfulness to this Guru Shishya Parampara, which spent their entire lifetimes, generations upon generations upon generations, simply by hearting the text and passing it on to the next person without adulteration or edits. Such an amazing thought process, and such an amazing karuna they must have had for us to be doing that for us, simply so that we can 5,000 years later still engage with the scripture. So that's why it's called the Kritagnyata mantra. So thank you for participating in that. Today's topic is Maya, the power of Ishvara. Like Nitinji pointed out, this is a roller coaster ride, right? For me as well, it has been a roller coaster ride, because what I wanted to think about, whilst the topic is anchored on Maya Panchakam in a way, but also I wanted to think about how Maya is talked about in various scriptures. I mean, there is a lot of reference to Maya in many, many scriptures. I am not an expert on all, but to the extent that I have read some of them, I've tried to bring together the specific instances where Maya is talked about in the various scriptures that we have been through in our satsanga, right? If you think about it, like Nitinji pointed out, this is a very tough concept. The concept of Maya itself is a very tough concept. It is anyway talked about as anirvachaniya, cannot be talked about, cannot be described. It goes in the same definition bucket as Atman or Brahman, right? Because after all, Maya is a power of Brahman. So if you think about it, a very difficult concept to unravel and to unpack. But to the extent possible intellectually, we'll try to unravel and unpack it by going through various scriptures where Maya is defined. So what will be our agenda for today? This will be our agenda for today. We will see what is Maya, how do various texts define it, what does Maya do. In this, we will take extensive help from Maya Panchakam, because that's where Shankaracharya talks about how the Maya does the impossible all the time, right? So we take extensive help from Maya Panchakam here. And is there a way to deal with Maya? What do the scriptures talk about from a perspective of dealing with Maya? Here we take help from Narada Bhakti Sutra, we will take help from Eknathi Bhagavatam and Bhagavatam, and we will take help from Panchadashi as well. So we will do this talk in 3 parts like this. Not necessary that each part will fit neatly into one talk. We will see how that progresses basis how the talk unfolds, right? It's not entirely in our hands. So Maya and its definitions. Let's start with that first. What is how is Maya defined in the various scriptures? I first picked up a sutra from the Viveka Chudamani, which talks about Maya from a perspective of avidya, nascence, avidya or Maya. It says is the power of the Lord, right? Without beginning, It is Anadi and is made up of three gunas. Trigunatmika para, right? She is to be inferred by one of clear intellect, he says, only from the effect she produces. Dhiyaiva. So Dhiyaiva, one who is of clear intellect, Maya can be interpreted how? Through the karya, right? Through the anumana of the karya that she does, right? What is the effect that she produces so that she can be inferred, he says. And then he says, Jagat Sarvamidam Prasuyate. It is she who brings forth this whole universe. What an amazing definition of Maya. Panchadashi talks about in the first chapter as well, which I'll bring up in the next verse. Similarly, and then we'll take the two verses together, explain a bit more about what these verses are talking about. Panchadashi in chapter 1, verse 16 says, when the element of sattva is pure, Prakriti is known as Maya. When impure, being mixed up with Rajas, is called Avidya. So there are two parts of Prakriti, whether reflected through pure or impure, Shuddha Sattva or Ashuddha Sattva. Brahman reflected in Maya is known as the omniscient Ishvara, and Ishvara controls Maya, whereas Jiva is Maya Dhina. This is in the second verse. Next verse comes up that Jiva is Maya Dhina. So if you take these two definitions together, what is it trying to tell us? That it's clearly telling us one thing, that Maya is a power of Ishvara, right? It is a power of Ishvara. He controls Maya. He is Mayadhipati. Okay, that is a very important point to remember, because later when we talk about how to transcend Maya, we are going to reflect on this Mayadhipati for sure, right? Then what else is it telling us? It is telling us that Maya is Trigunatmika. What are these three gunas? Sattva, Rajas and Tamas. These are the three gunas. Maya produces its effects through the impact of the three gunas, right? Now the beauty of Maya, this power, which is the power of Ishvara, is that you cannot see this power, but the presence of the universe in our midst means this power can be inferred. How to understand this? There is clay. Inherent in clay is the power for it to be converted into a pot. So when the potter engages with the clay, he uses the power inherent in clay for it to be made into a pot. And the moment we see the pot, the effect of that power of clay to become a pot is evident. See, the power is dormant in the clay. It cannot be seen in the clay if clay remains clay. It is dormant, right? So when the whole world is absorbed back in Brahman, there is no creation, then Maya is not evident, because there's nobody to witness the effect of Maya, neither is there an effect of Maya. Just like the power is dormant in the clay, only evident when the pot is made. Then through the presence of the pot, you can infer that there is a power which created the pot from the clay. So similarly, Maya is inferred from the effect she produces. Okay, this much is clear. Then why does he say you need clear intellect? What is the necessity for Sudhiyaiva? Why is Sudhi required? Why is clear intellect required? Eva, he says, only one with a clear intellect can see the effect of Maya, that is the universe, right? It is she who brings forth this whole universe of Nama Rupa Jagat. Vastu, Vyakti, Paristhiti. See, Vastu, objects, Vyakti, people, and Paristhiti, situations. Objects, people, and situations. This whole universe is brought about only by this Maya. So where is the need for this clear intellect then? Why is he saying that a clear intellect is required to see the effect she produces? The answer to that question is, can you see the picture when you are in the picture? The answer is no, you cannot. Can you see the picture when you are standing outside the picture? Answer is yes, you can. Similarly, when one is not of clear intellect, meaning when one's intellect is confused, then one becomes a part of the creation which Maya has created. One is not able to hold oneself aloof from that creation and look at creation impassively and say, oh, this whole creation is produced by Maya. One is not able to do that. Why? Because one has become part of the creation. One sees oneself. Deho ayam iti jadasya buddhihi, says the Yoga Vashishta. Deho ayam iti jadasya buddhi. Once I think of myself, Deho ayam, as I am this body with the jada buddhi, because the intellect is not clear, I see myself as this body, then I see myself as part of this whole universe. From the whole universe, I extract something called my world. The world is there. From that, I extract something called my world, on which I put the stamp of me, mine, you, yours, etc. Think. So when I am extracting this universe called my world from this whole universe, I become part of it. No more I can see the effect of Maya as the universe that it has produced, because I am now part of the picture. I cannot see the picture. Think. So therefore he says she is to be inferred by one of clear intellect from the effect she produces. She is the one who Jagat Sarvamidam Prasuyate. Jagat Sarvamidam. Everything in this world is made up only by this Maya. We say in Hindi, Maya ne aisa khel rachaya, ban ke hame banaya. Maya ne aisa khel rachaya, ban ke hame banaya. Meaning Maya has set up such a game that by creating this whole universe, it has entangled us in that universe. Think about that. So these are the first two definitions that I want to engage with from a perspective of what is Maya. Then from Panchadashi itself, I picked up one more verse, which is verse number 130. He says Maya can be looked up from three perspectives. You see, three ways. From the point of view of knowledge and Shruti, he says it is negligible. For empirical reasons, it is indefinable. For ordinary people, it is real. So let us take out of the three viewpoints, the last viewpoint. For ordinary people, it is real. Naturally, no. When I look at an ordinary person, ordinary people means what? Those who have not had the grace. In Ramcharitmanas, it is said by Tulsidas that Binu Satsanga Viveka Nahi, Rama Kripa Bina Satsanga Nahi. Without Satsanga, there is no Viveka possible. And without Rama Kripa, Satsanga is not possible. So if we understand that, ordinary people are not people we need to look down upon. But ordinary people are people we can have karuna with about. Why we should have compassion for them? Because they have not been able to come into satsang because Rama Kripa has not happened on them. See? Or Rama Kripa has happened, meaning they have been told that there is this satsang. They can come to it. But by their own actions, they have decided not to take benefit of that Rama Kripa. Both are true, right? The Jivan Mukti Viveka says of ordinary people that the three impure vasanas, which is Lokavasana, Dehavasana, and Shastra Vasana, Lokavasana, Dehavasana, Shastra Vasana, these three vasanas keep the seekers of knowledge from seeking knowledge. Meaning, you want knowledge, but these three vasanas will keep you entangled in the world, and we will constantly think to ourselves, we will surely come into satsang. When we will come into satsang? When we are a little bit more free, meaning we will surely swim in the ocean when the waves are stopped. So those are the ordinary people we are talking about. So therefore, we must have karuna and compassion for them. For them, Maya is real, naturally. If you speak to an ordinary person, that person will tell you what? That person will surely tell you that this whole universe is real. You know, whole universe meaning they are not bothered about the whole universe, by the way. There is Kyrgyzstan, Kazakhstan, you know, so many stans are there. If you read in the newspaper that 500,000 people died in an earthquake in Kyrgyzstan, they did not die, don't worry. But assume you're reading in the newspaper as you're eating your idli sambar in the morning, or you're eating your paratha and dahi, depending on which part of India you're from, right? And you're eating it and you listen to this news that the whole of Kyrgyzstan, there has been a huge earthquake and 500,000 people have died. You read that news and say, you know, so bad, you know, so many people died. Then you take one bite of the idli and you tell inside the kitchen, hey, today sambar is not so hot. Please heat my sambara. See? So we are not bothered about the whole universe. This ordinary people, it is real. Maya is real. For what it is real? For my world, my son, my daughter, my money, my pratishtha, my samman, my mana, my apamana, right? The vastu, vyakti, parasthiti on which I have put the stamp of me and mine, you and yours. that for them, right, that part of the world is very real, right? They cannot see Maya as illusion. Illusion is a very poor word for Maya. They cannot see Brahma Satyam Jagat Mitya Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. Not possible for them to see. So for ordinary people, Panchadashi, chapter 6, verse 130 says, Maya is real. For people who are sadhakas, what about them? Then for them, it is anirvachaniya. Why? It cannot be talked about, right? Why? It is anirvachaniya because it cannot be talked about because we see it as existing before we acquired self-knowledge. So Maya existed before we acquired self-knowledge. But once we acquire, we know now as sadhakas that once we acquire the knowledge of Brahman, once that paroksha jnana, meaning heard knowledge becomes aparoksha anubhuti, meaning it becomes personal experience, then we know for sure what happens. Automatically we know Maya becomes non-existent. So it is existent and non-existent. So how do we define Maya? Becomes indefinable, right? So therefore he says anirvachaniya. Vastavi for who? For ordinary people, we define them, not just people we look down upon. Vastavi, anirvachaniya for the sadhaka. And what about the realized soul? For the realized soul, he says it is tuchha. Tuchha meaning negligible. Why for the realized soul it is negligible? Because for the realized soul, he is seeing the substratum only. He is not seeing the Nama Rupa Jagat. He is seeing the substratum only. Therefore, for that person, Maya is tuchha, doesn't exist, right? It is negligible, no problem for him, right? So this is the other way in which Maya is defined in the Panchadashi. And there is one more way in which it is defined. He says, look at the Maya, without affecting the real nature of Atman, it has created the whole world. It makes the impossible look possible. How astonishingly powerful Maya is. Panchadashi, for those who don't know, is a 15-chapter book. 15 chapters, Panchadashi, 15 chapters, written by Swami Vidyaranya. Amazing book on, it's a Prakarana Grantha on Vedanta. Verse 134 of chapter 6 says, how impossible is made possible by Maya. Without affecting Atman in any way, Maya creates the world. That is the beauty of Maya. Can we understand this with an example? Yes, the pot is created, but the inhering clay is not impacted. If the pot breaks and is ground down into powder again, you will get the clay back. Just like the earring is made, or the ring is made, or the bangle is made, right? But the gold inherent in the earring, bangle, or the ring stays the same. It doesn't change the nature of the gold. In fact, for the goldsmith, there is neither the earring nor the ring nor the bangle. There is only gold. That's all he's bothered about. He's buying and selling gold. The Nama Rupa is for whom? For the ordinary people who cannot see beyond the Nama Rupa and see the gold inherent in that Nama Rupa. So these are the ways in which Panchadashi, I've just picked up a very small subsection of Panchadashi because in the 11th chapter, in the 13th chapter of the Panchadashi again, there is a very long discussion on Maya. I have not picked up all of them because that will get too intricate and technical. So I've just picked up some of the definitions which appeared interesting to me for the purpose of finding out for ourselves what is the definition of Maya. Then Vedanta Sara, a book of definitions of various Vedantic terms, like Atma Bodha is also a book of definitions, like Vedanta Sara, a book of definitions of various terms in Vedanta. What does it say? Take a look at it. Nascence, Ajnanam. Here he talks about Ajnanam. What is Maya at the Samashti level is Ajnanam at the Vyashti level. Samashti, the collective, Vyashti, the individual. For us, the play of Maya at the individual level is more important and relevant because at the Samashti level, Maya is a power of Ishvara and therefore not so relevant for us. I mean, it is relevant, yes, but yet from a impact on day-to-day life perspective, this definition is equally important because it talks about Ajnanam to Sad asadabhyam. See, it is talked about as both being and non-being. We talked about it, isn't it? It's being because as a sadhaka, when I have not yet realized Brahman, I can see Maya and its effects. But I know that once Paroksha Jnana becomes Aparoksha Anubhuti, meaning I experientially live in that Brahmic bliss, then Maya becomes non-being. So it is called as being and non-being, right? Therefore, it is called Anirvachaniyam. Therefore, it is called Anirvachaniyam. It is Trigunatmikam. We already talked about that. Maya expresses itself through the three gunas of Sattva, Rajas, and Tamas. Jnana Virodhi, meaning it is opposed to knowledge. Wherever there is Maya and the impact of Maya is felt in the mind, there Jnana will not be sthira. Jivan Mukti Viveka also supports this, right? He says, whilst the three impure vasanas, namely Loka Vasana, Shastra Vasana, Deha Vasana, these prevent the seekers of knowledge from seeking knowledge, because they are not allowed to come to satsang at all, because these vasanas dominate them. They feel satsang is not for them. They feel what is not real is real, and what is real is not known to them. What is not real? The world that they see as real. Whereas what is not known to them is the real thing. What is that? Atma Vastu or Brahman. So that it cannot be described. That is Trigunatmikam. That is Jnana Virodhi. That's what we were talking about a bit ago. That it is opposed to the knowledge, meaning it will not allow the knowledge of the knowers to be stabilized. This is what Jivan Mukti Viveka Swami Vidyaranya writes, that what happens with these three vasanas, it does not allow the knowledge of the knower to be stabilized. So that is the impact of Maya, right? Because the vasanas come out of Rajas, and Maya we saw is Trigunatmikam. Then Bhava Rupam Yat Kinchit Iti Vadanti. It is a positive quality, yet it is said to be intangible and insignificant. So it has both opposites contained within it. And how do we know it exists? See, Aham Ajnana Iti Adi Anubhavat. See, I am ignorant. From such experiences, its existence is established. For the Samashti, the presence of the creation is the proof that Maya exists. For the Vyashti, I am ignorant, and such other experiences mean that Maya exists at the individual level as Ajnana. Right? So that's what Vedanta Sara defines Maya as. Then from Bhagavad Gita, we take the famous definition of Maya, which is Devi Hesha Gunamayi, Mama Maya Durutyaya, Mameva Te Prapadyante Maya Metam Tarantite. See? This divine Maya of mind consisting of three modes or gunas, it is impossible to break through. See, Lord is saying, this divine Maya is mine. Devi Hesha Gunamani. Mama Maya Drutyaya. Mama Maya, he says. It's impossible to break through. So the Lord himself agrees that Maya is quite difficult to break through. When he's saying impossible, he means impossible for the people who are not focusing on the Lord. Because he then goes on to say, how to break through. Those who constantly adore me alone cross. We will come to this when we pick up how do we deal with Maya. But the important part here is, Lord says this Maya is my power, right? Mama Maya Durtaya says it's very difficult to break through for ordinary people, because Ham Sada Sarvada, all the time, we are surrounded by this Maya only. All the time we are surrounded by this Maya. So if we understand that clearly and keep that in mind, then what will happen for the first time is, we will for the first time wake up to the reality. Like if you have seen this picture called Matrix, Keanu Reeves, right? Many of you would have seen this picture, where Keanu Reeves is told to either eat the blue pill or the red pill. And one of the pills takes him back to his world, and another pill wakes him up to a new reality, right? Think of those two pills as being in the world in ignorance, or being in the world with our spiritual consciousness being awakened. What the Bhagavad Gita talks about as Ya Nisha Sarva Bhutanam Tasya Jagrata Samyami. See, where it is darkness for the ordinary people, there it is light for the Samyami, meaning for the Jnani, there is light. And where there is light for the ordinary people, there is darkness. Think. So what is being told here? It is being said that this Maya creates the Jagmag Jagmag Dunya, the bright world it creates, and engages us in it. But if I elevate my spiritual consciousness, then I can put myself in a position where I can be awakened in this world. See, awakened in this world meaning not only the Jagrat Avastha awakened, it is that I am spiritually awakened in the world. Then only I will be able to see that I am living in a Maya Jagat. Think about that, right? We go to the next definition of Maya from Bhagavatam. In Bhagavatam, there is a very interesting episode in the 11th canto of the Bhagavatam. It is called Navayogi's Discourses with Raja Nimi. Raja Nimi is a Raja, and to him come the Navayogis, starting with Kavi. And to the Navayogis, he poses 9 questions. Right? Being very fortunate, he feels that he is very fortunate that he has met saints. And to those Navayogis, he posits 9 questions. One of the questions he posits is, what is Maya? This part is talked about in Canto 11, Chapter 3 of the Bhagavatam. And Kavi Yogi Antariksha, the 4th Yogi, Yogi Antariksha, he answers the question, what is Maya? He describes Maya between verses 1 to 15, and in the 16th verse, which is what I have picked up, he summarizes Maya as what? Esha Maya Bhagavataha. See, Bhagavataha, it's a power of God. What does it do? Sargaha, Sthitihi, Antakkarini. See, it has 3 aspects: doing the work of creation, maintenance, and destruction. Creation, maintenance, and destruction, all 3 are works of Maya, Trivarna, 3 modes. See, he says, what more do you want to hear? He asks. And between verse 1 and 15, he explains many things that Maya does. From the start of creation, where Ishvara instructs Maya to create this whole creation, and as the power of Ishvara, Maya creates this whole Mayavi Jagat. To the beginning of the Jiva-hood, where he thinks where I think I am separate from the rest. I start to think I am separate from the rest. And the moment I think I am separate from the rest, I start to think I am somebody. You are different. I am different. And from that, the whole phenomenal universe starts to come up, and the Jiva starts to get involved in this phenomenal universe. And whilst being in this phenomenal universe, experiences Sukha and Dukkha. Not only experiences Sukha and Dukkha, also goes through the whole transmigratory cycle of birth and death. Think. So creation. Not only the Vidya Maya of the Lord. See, when you think about creation, the mountains, the rivers, the oceans, the clouds, the sun can be called Vidya Maya. What is there another type of Maya? Yes, there is another type of Maya. It is called Avidya Maya. Also from the Bhagavatam. Same canto, same chapter. Vidya Maya, Avidya Maya. What is Vidya Maya? The creation of the whole universe by the Lord, instructing Maya to create the universe. He says, Vidya Maya, there is no problem, right? Because it is. Where is the problem? In Avidya Maya. What do we do in Avidya Maya? We say, this is mine, that is yours. This is not yours, this is mine. I won't give this to you. With this, I am complete. Without this, I am incomplete. All this is Avidya Maya. Where is it emerging from, this Avidya Maya? From my imagination. Think. From my imagination, this Avidya Maya is emerging. And he says the real problem for you is this Avidya Maya, where the Jiva gets entangled in the world, and through its entanglement in the world, it then goes through this whole series of transmigration of birth and death. Many, many, many lives it goes through like that. What about maintenance? Also a work of Maya. What about destruction? The whole process of destruction, where the earth is baked by the by a dozen suns, and there is no rain, and there is fire which engulfs the whole thing, and then there is a deluge which pours and mixes all the mud into that deluge, and the air dries the whole water, and air goes empty into space, and so the 5 elements go back the way they came out, right? This destruction, whose work? Maya. See? So he says, you ask the question, what is Maya? That is what the question was asked by Raja Nimi. Yogi Antariksha says, it is having 3 aspects, Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, and it does the work of creation, Sarga, Sthiti, Antakarya. He says, what more do you want to hear? He asked in the 16th. In Ekanathi Bhagavat, which is a discourse by Ekanath Maharaj on the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, just the 11th canto of Bhagavatam, Ekanath Maharaj has written a voluminous discourse on the 11th chapter, where he takes each verse of the 11th canto chapter by chapter and expounds on it amazingly beautifully. It's a 1,500 page book, beautiful book, worth reading. There is an English translation by Divakar A. Ghaisas available, so you should read that. All right. In Ekanathi Bhagavatam, chapter 3, OV 67, he defines Maya as exactly equal to our flight of imagination. The great hope that we hold in our mind is the main structure of Maya, he says, right? Now, we might be thinking, why do we need to know all these various definitions of Maya? You know, we have seen the definition of Maya in Viveka Chudamani, we have seen it in Panchadashi, we have seen it in Bhagavad Gita, Vedanta Sara, Ekanathi Bhagavatam, and we are going to see 2 more, last 2, right, before we pause, right? Why do we need to see these various definitions? Because unless we know how Maya is dealt with in the various scriptures and Puranas, we will not know what effect it has on me. There's no chance of knowing what effect it has on me, and therefore, till we know what effect it has on me, I will not know how to come out of it. See? So 3 things need to happen. 1, I need to know what is Maya. 2, I need to know what effect it is having on me. And 3, I need to put myself in a position where I can come out of it. So what does Ekanathi Bhagavatam say? It says it's equal to your flight of imagination. Because what do I consider me and mine? This money I consider mine. Money is laughing because many people have told it before, you are mine, right? And it is constantly flowing. It is not mine because I came with clenched fists. I'm going to go with empty palms. Muthi bandh ke aane wale, haath pasare jayega. You're going to have empty hands. When Napoleon died in the island of Elba, he said, when I'm dead, please march my coffin through the streets of Elba with both my hands outside. Right? Why? Because he said, I want people to see that Napoleon died with nothing in his hands. See, all that thing which we call mine is gone at the doorway of death. You cannot take anything through. So he says Maya is equal to our imagination. And the other thing he says in OV 68 is the great hope that we hold in our mind. What is this hope we hold? That somehow, somewhere, I will find a permanent happiness in this world. See, Mullah Nasruddin was searching for something under the street light. So he was searching. And somebody came and asked him, hey Mullah, what are you searching? So he said, I'm searching for my key. So they also started searching. After some while, they couldn't find it. So one bright spark woke up and said, Mullah, where did you lose your key? So Mullah said, I lost it inside the house. So he said, idiot, you lost it inside the house. Why are you searching it outside then? So Mullah said, I'm searching it outside because inside the house, there is no light. Think. Now, however much we search where the light is, will we find it? No, we will not find it. So however much hope we have in our mind that someday we will find happiness in the world. Someday we are going to find happiness in the world. Will we find it? No chance. Not possible. Therefore, that hope that we are holding in our mind, that someday we will find happiness in the world, that he says is the main structure of Maya. Now comes the next definition of Maya in Ramcharitmanas, in a part in Aranya Kand, the Chaupai under Doha 14, right? This is called Lakshman Gita. where Lakshman asks a series of questions to Rama when they are in the forest. He asks a series of questions to Rama, basically with the intent to develop undying love for the holy feet of Rama. That is his intent. But for that, he asks a series of questions, in which one of the questions he asks is, what is this Maya? Please explain to me. Right? So look at what Rama answers to Lakshmana. He says, Thor hi mama maha sabakahum bujhai. I will solve all your doubts, he says. Sunahu tata mati mana chittalai. Focus your mind and intellect on what I am saying, fully absorbed. You please listen, he says. Mai aru more tor tai maya. The feeling of mai or aru more. Me, I and mine. Tor tai, meaning you and yours, is maya. Basakin hai jiva nikaya. It holds sway over all created beings, Rama says. This is Rama replying to Lakshmana. See, he says, whatever is perceived by the senses and that which lies within the reach of the mind, know it all to be Maya. What a beautifully practical definition of Maya in the Ramcharitmanas. Ramcharitmanas is a book like that, where many, many things are simplified beyond belief. So he says, feeling of I and mine, you and yours is Maya. It holds sway over all created beings. Whatever is perceived by the senses, that within the reach of the mind is Maya. Know it all to be Maya, he says. And finally, our own understanding. You have heard many times, Maya, that which is not generally translated as illusion, but that word does not give it real meaning, because we have seen well beyond the word illusion, the Vedantic definition of Maya, and also the definition of Maya in the various Puranas, and also in a more colloquial book like Ramcharitmanas, the definition of Maya. We have seen all of that. Now, the next part which we want to talk about is Naradji asked Vishnu Bhagwan the same question. He wanted to know, what is this Maya? So Vishnu Bhagwan didn't answer the question. So Naradji asked him many times. He said, Lord, please tell me what is Maya. And Vishnuji wouldn't answer the question of Naradji at all. Right? So one day, many days after he had asked the question about what is Maya, Vishnu told Naradji, let's go out for a walk. So they went out for a walk. After walking for some time, Vishnu, he said, look, I'm feeling a little bit tired, quite hot and sunny out there. So he told Naradji, why don't you go and find some water for me? Well, Naradji was delighted. He said, surely, sir, I will surely go and find water for you and bring it to you right away. Right? That's what he said. And he went to find water for Vishnu Bhagwan. He walked around for a bit, and he came upon a well where there was water. But what does he see near that well? He sees near that well a most astonishingly beautiful girl, never seen before. So beautiful he has never seen even in the heavens. Such a beautiful girl with a retinue of other girls has come to the well to draw water. So Naradji is completely smitten. He has forgotten what he came for, and he asks her who she is. Very shyly, which adds to her beauty, she replies she is the daughter of the chieftain of the forest, and she has come to draw water from the well, the only daughter. So when they have drawn water from the well, Naradji, with his eyes fully open, walks like as if he is a zombie behind them, goes to the village, and he meets the girl's father, and he says, look, I am Naradji, and I'm completely smitten with your daughter. I want to wed her, and I want her to be my wife. Now the chieftain has only one daughter. So he tells Naradji that there's only one. I say, I'm delighted, she says, that you have come to ask for my daughter's hand. You seem to be like a good chap. I will give my daughter's hand to you. But he says only one condition. What condition is that? You must stay here and be a ghar jamai, meaning you must be a son-in-law who is staying with me. Now Naradji is so smitten in love that he agrees. So he stays with them, becomes part of their family, starts to hunt animals. He very soon has 3 children from his wife, and life is moving on swimmingly, amazingly, right? And the chieftain dies, and he's crowned the chieftain of that tribe, and things are going on very well. But one day what happens, there is a river nearby which comes into spate, flood, huge floods, lot of rains. So huge floods, and that river water comes into the place where Naradji and his tribe are staying, and very soon everything is washed away. Naradji is somehow holding on tight with one hand to his wife and one hand to the other 3 children. He is holding on tight, but the flood waters are so swift, so strong, that his wife and children are taken away and Naradji is left alone. And after the water subsides, Naradji is sitting in that mud-filled area, silt-filled area, and crying his heart out. Because he has lost his family, he has lost his 3 children, he has lost his wife, the whole village is devastated, and is crying and crying and crying and crying. And from a distance, he hears a sound. And that sound is calling out to him, Naradji, oh Naradji. He looks around and he sees Vishnu Bhagwan. And Vishnu Bhagwan is asking him, Are, you had gone to get water for me. Where is the water? With that one sentence, suddenly Naradji's eyes are opened again. Which eyes? Spiritual eyes, like I said, are opened again. And he looks around and he says, my God, there is no village, there is no river, there were no people. So he is bewildered, flabbergasted, amazed. And he asked the Lord, what is all this? What happened here? And what does the Lord say? Lord says, Narada, you ask, no, what is Maya? He says, this is Maya. Think. What came into Narada's life as a whole lifetime happened to be just a few minutes of a dream. That's all. See? So many lifetimes we have lived in this Mayavi Jagat, right? So many lifetimes we have lived, and we consider this life, Srini, very important life. See? But really, does it have any meaning in the real world? No. In the spiritual world, what is it? Tuchha. Negligible. Because this body, this conversation is all part of the same Maya. But the beauty of Maya is, through the Maya, you can cut Maya. This conversation is in Maya. The mind and the intellect which speaks is Maya. The mind and intellect which is reasoning is also Maya. But through that Maya, we can cut the Maya. Think. So these are the various definitions of Maya that we talked about thus far. So if okay, Nitinji, you can check if there are any questions before I move on to the next topic, which I'm going to pick up, which is about what does Maya do?
Okay, I think we have just one comment here. Let me just read out the comment. Because we are part of Maya, we are not able to see Maya as a separate entity. So how do we come out of the world that is Maya and see the Maya?
Yeah, very beautiful question. Yeah, how do we come out of the Maya and see the Maya? We have to use, it is, I would characterize it, I would give an example for this. There is a diya. We have lit diyas during Deepavali, right? Diya, and you light a lamp, you put ghee into the lamp and you light the wick. The wick is made of cotton. Technically, the fire should consume that cotton, right? But the fire is held on that cotton wick and it becomes a lamp. For how long it is held? It is held so long as there is ghee in the diya. So similarly, the intellect is the wick. The knowledge is the fire which is held in the intellect. So we are acquiring jnana now, which is paroksha jnana, meaning heard knowledge. We are doing shravana. On that, we need to do manana. Through that manana, the oil in the lamp, which is desires and vasanas, need to be eliminated. We have to move towards vasana kshaya. When the oil in the lamp is eliminated, that fire will consume the whole wick. You see that? Yeah. So when the desires are eliminated through the knowledge taken through Shravana and Manana, then what will happen? For the first time, we will be awakened in the world. Not only the Jagrat Sthiti awakened, but our spiritual consciousness will be elevated. Then the type of questions that Shankara asks in Bhajagovindam, Kate Kanta Kaste Putraha, Kasyatvam Kuta Ayataha. Who is this wife? Who is this husband? See, who are you? Where have you come from? These questions will start to make sense. And then when those questions start to make sense, and when the inquiry proceeds along those lines, then using the construct of Maya, which is what this is, we will be able to set oneself aside and see this Maya as a drishta, as a witness. See, as we walk the spiritual path, when we begin walking the spiritual path, we are fully convinced we are this mind, body, and intellect. We are nothing other than a mixture of mind, body, intellect. As we walk the spiritual path, we start to see that the pain in my knee, which I was saying I am in pain. The pain is in my knee, but I'm saying I am in pain. I now start revising my language and say, there is pain in my knee. Different to I am in pain. My knee is painful. See, I've localized it. Think about it. My knee is painful versus I am in pain. What has happened when I say my knee is painful? Me, some other subject, is having an object called knee, which is painful. For example, this is my phone. My phone is working. My phone is working. Subject me, object phone is working. My knee is painful. Subject me, object me, knee is painful. So suddenly when I come into the spiritual path, I thought I was this body. Through the medium of Shravana and Manana, you will come to the conclusion that the body is not you. There is a subject you. You don't know who it is, question mark. We will come to that as part of our next part, the third part rather. And there is an object called me, which is painful. That is with regard to the body. Then we can say, I am happy, I am unhappy. Instead, we can say, there are happy thoughts in my mind. There are unhappy thoughts in my mind. Think. When I say there are happy thoughts in my mind, subject is somebody different to the mind, and the mind becomes the object which has happy thoughts. I become the watcher of those happy thoughts. My ideas are good. See, subject me, object intellect, in those good ideas as content. I become a watcher of those good ideas. So when I'm able to set up drishta bhavana in my day-to-day interactions in the world, then whilst being in Maya, I can see myself as aloof from it. Hopefully that answers the question. We will pick that up in greater detail as we talk about how do we deal with Maya. Yeah.
You can go ahead now, continue.
Okay, continue. All right. Okay. So now we will go on to the next part, which is what does Maya do? In this, we will anchor ourselves firmly in Maya Panchakam, which is what Shankaracharya does a wonderful job of telling us what does Maya do. Look at this. Maya, which is skillful in accomplishing the impossible. What does it do? It brings about distractions of the world. It brings about distinctions of the world. What distinctions? Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. Jiva, Jagat, and Ishvara. Ye distinction mere consciousness mein, it brings these distinctions in my consciousness. But how is the reality? The reality is unique, eternal, partless, right? And it is free from all distinctions. So what does Maya do? It brings the distinction of Jiva, Jagat and Ishvara inside me. Brahman reflected in Shuddha Sattva, Panchadasi chapter 1. Brahman reflected in Shuddha Sattva is Ishvara. Brahman reflected in Ashuddha Sattva is Jiva. Jiva is Maya Dhina, whereas Ishvara is Maya Dhipati, is the controller of Maya, Ishvara, whereas Jiva is Adhina to Maya. Who's the Jiva? Me, I. This I entity which I have created fictitiously by borrowing doership from the intellect and consciousness from the Atman. I borrow doership from intellect, consciousness from Atman. Combine the two and say this is Jiva. It's a fictitious entity. Jiva, therefore the Jagat. The moment we think I am this body, I have superimposed the body on the Atman, Jiva would has come alive. That moment onwards, Jagat is also true. Deho ayam iti jadasya buddhihi means Jagat also is satyatva buddhi. Jagat satyatva buddhi. When it comes, Deho ayam iti jadasya buddhi. When I start to believe I am this body, mind, intellect complex, from that moment onwards, Jagat satyatva buddhi. The world is real also becomes true for me. So I see myself, I see the world, and I see the supreme power called Ishvara. But whereas in Advaita Vedanta, not talking about Vishishta Advaita or Dvaita, where Ishvara has a clear position, unassailable in Dvaita, right? But in Advaita Vedanta, he says, beyond the Jiva and Ishvara is Brahman. See, it's only Brahman reflected in Shuddha Sattva, which is Ishvara. So Brahman, Ishvara is only a reflection. What is the real power? Brahman. And who are you? Prajnanam Brahma. That Prajnanam, that consciousness which is within you is Brahman. Then you are told Tattvamasi, that thou art. See, then you can say, I am Atma Brahman. This Atman within me is Brahman. And then we can say, Aham Brahmasmi. Therefore, I am that Brahman. There is nothing other than Brahman. Ekam eva advitiyam. That is the reality. Ekam eva advitiyam is the reality. There is no bheda. No sajatiya, vijatiya, no bhedas are there. See, no swagata bheda, no sajatiya bheda, no vijatiya bheda. Swagata bheda is the distinction that exists within a species. Tree, in that there is branches, leaves, etc. Swagata bheda. Sajatiya bheda is where there are different types of trees. And vijatiya bheda is tree versus stone, two different jatis. All these three bhedas, Swagata, Sajatiya and Vijatiya, does not exist in Brahman. Because it is Ekam, it is one whole, therefore no Swagata Veda, Eva, alone, therefore no multiple types of Brahmans. Advitiyam, non-dual, therefore only that exists, therefore Vijatiya Veda also not possible. So Ekam Eva Advitiya Brahman me, in that Ekam Advitiya Brahman, what we see? We see this Jiva Jagat Ishvara division. Is that a problem? Is the question we have to ask. So what if it shows the Jiva Jagat Ishvara distinction? See, am I not living a fulfilled life? I'm going to office, I'm earning money, I've got a big flat, I've got a car, I worship the Lord, I go to temples, all that I do. Am I not living a good life? What is the need for me to go beyond this Jiva Jagat Ishvara? Why should I know this Brahman, which is Ekam Eva Advitiya, which has all these Vedas, doesn't have the... Why should I get technical? What is the need for all this Satsanga then? What is the problem with living like this? And the answer is there is no problem. See, you can be a good pygmy or you can be a great giant. So what does Vedanta want us to be? Vedanta wants us to be a great giant. So in the Sanatana Dharma, being good is not the be all end all. Being morally right is not the be all end all of life. It is the entry point to become great giants. So if I have to realize my true potential, then I have to know what Maya is doing. See, it is creating this difference of Jiva Jagat Ishwar. It is making me the Jiva. And how is the Jiva? Alpagnya, Alpagyanwala, Alpashaktiman. That is the nature of the Jiva. So what happens as a consequence of that being my position? I constantly feel that I am unfulfilled. Think, constantly I feel that I am incomplete. This person, barber, who used to go to cut the Raja's hair and do his shaving. He used to go through a forest from his village, go to the other side, city, and in the city, the palace, where he used to be the Raja's barber. Very happy-go-lucky, very happy person, very cheerful person. So one day when he was going through the forest, a voice came to him through the woods saying, under the yonder banyan tree, there are 7 pots buried. It's yours. They are filled with gold. It's yours for taking. He ran through the forest. Next day, again, the same voice came. Under the yonder banyan tree, there are 7 pots buried, filled with gold. It's yours for the taking. Fear became a little less. Next day, again, same voice. Now he said, Abhi to dekhna padega. We'll have to go and see. So he went and saw under the banyan tree. When he started to dig, sure enough, there were 7 pots of gold. 7 pots. So he took the pots home. Slowly opened the pots one by one. All 6 pots were filled to the brim with gold. The 7th pot was 3/4 filled only. He said, yo. They said 7 pots filled with gold. But the 7th is only 3/4 filled, he said. Very sad he became. So from that day on, he became mad after filling that 7th pot with gold. He somehow wanted to fill that 7th pot with gold. He wanted to, 100%. That became his job. So he started becoming more and more focused on it. Cheerfulness was lost. His, happy-go-lucky nature was lost. He had never asked the Raja for any money. He started to ask the Raja for a raise. His whole demeanor changed. No matter how much gold he got through his efforts and he put into the 7th pot, the 7th pot stayed 3/4 full. It did not fill up. He became desperate. So much so, his personality changed that the Raja ultimately asked him, what is happening? He said, nothing, he said. So the Raja quietly asked him, did you find the 7 pots of gold? He asked him. So he was shocked. How did Raja know that he found the 7? He had told nobody. How did the Raja know? So very shamefacedly, he said, yes. And the Raja asked, are you trying to fill the 7th pot? He asked. He said, yes. He said, I too found it. I took all the gold in my treasury to put into the 7th pot. The 7th pot never got filled, he said. Go and give it back under the banyan tree. It will never get filled, he said. It is destroying your life. The barber understood, kept the 7 pots under the banyan tree, and he returned back to his cheerful self. What is the 7th pot which never got filled? It is the mind. See? What is the problem with Jiva Jagat Ishvara? The Jiva has a mind. And in that mind are insatiable desires. However many desires are satisfied, some more stand up and come to the fore. So will we ever be contented if we are in this Jiva Jagat Ishvara distinction? Answer is never. However much of the world we acquire, it will never give us contentment. That is what Maya does to us. Think. This person went outside, he wanted to get married. So he one day went up outside and he saw showroom of wives. He said, actually, this woman wanted to get married, and she saw a showroom of husbands. Oh, wow, she's a showroom of husbands. Never heard it before. She went in. There was a large signboard which said, on first floor, Sundar Sushil husbands, meaning handsome and husbands who know housework. She went up to the first floor. Sure enough, there were handsome husbands who were doing all sorts of housework, from, doing vessels to doing sweeping, swapping, all work they were doing, cooking. Superb, but very handsome husbands. So she asked the salesperson there, one more floor? He said, yes, there is one more floor. So as she was going up to the second floor, she saw a signboard. Sundar, Sushil, and educated husbands. Yo, wow, she said, amazing. Educated also. So she went up and she saw, sure enough, they were all doing all sorts of work, but on their chest, they had various degrees, chartered accountant, engineer, MBA, doctor, but they had no problems in doing housework. Delighted. She asked the salesman, one more floor? He said, yes, ma'am, one more floor. As she was going up, she saw the signboard, Sundar, Sushil, educated and wealthy husbands. She was beyond belief. Amazing, she said. She went up and sure enough, there were husbands who were handsome, who were doing housework, who were educated, and they had their bank balance at the tip of their mobile. Big, big bank balances. And she asked the salesperson, there is one more floor. He says, yes, ma'am, there is one more floor. Quickly walked up because she didn't know what to expect. She was keyed up with excitement. She walked up and she saw a big signboard there. She said, no woman will ever be satisfied with her husband. Please exit from here. Now, this is not the story of a woman. This is the story of 7.5 billion people in this world. Whatever we get, the mind will want more. The person who has 1,000 rupees wants 10,000 rupees. The person who has 10,000 wants 1 lakh. The person who has 1 lakh wants 10 lakhs. The person who has 10 lakhs wants 1 crore. Look at the numbers increase. 1,000, 10,000, only 9,000 more. 10,000, 1 lakh, 90,000 more. 1 lakh, 10 lakhs, 9 lakhs more. 10 lakhs, 1 crore, 90 lakhs more. This is the problem with being a jiva in this jagat. Constant dissatisfaction and discontent will be the lot of the person. Whatever we get, Krishna places Arjuna's chariot in front of Bhishma and Drona. If he had placed it in front of Duryodhana, no Gita, because immediately war would have started. But Krishna, very chalak, what he did, he placed it in front of Bhishma and Drona. The whole Bhagavad Gita started because he saw grandfather and Guru. Is that first chapter relevant for us? Very relevant. Because Arjuna got Maya grasta. He got caught by Maya. Does it happen to us? Yes. We were driving a scooter. After a long wait, we got a car. Maruti Dzire. Very happy that we got Maruti Dzire. So we are driving the Maruti Dzire back from the showroom. And we are stopping at a signal. What should Krishna do? What car he should park next to us? He should park a Nano. Then we'll feel very contented and happy. But what he does, we are very happy driving the Dzire. At the signal, Krishna parks next to us a BMW 7 Series. What happened to our happiness of having the Maruti Dzire car? Gone. Now the mind says, ayyo, kitna chota car mera Dzire. BMW hota to kitna maja aata. So Krishna is constantly parking our chariot in front of such bifurcations in the road. Maya at work. Think. There's a beautiful bhajan of Surdas. Hey Govinda, hey Gopala, Rakho Charana, Abuto Jivana Hare, he says. He says, I'm defeated by life. Please keep me at your feet. That bhajan goes, MS Subbalakshmi, hey Govinda, hey Gopala. You can listen to it on YouTube. It goes like this. Neer pivana he tu gayo Sindhu ke kinare. Neer pivana he tu gayo Sindhu ke kinare. Sindhu beach basat graha Charanadhari pachade. What happened? The elephant went to drink water at the edge of the river. What happened? The crocodile caught its feet. Then what happened? Char prahar yudh bhayo le gayo majhdhare. Naak kaan duban lage. Krishna ko pukare. 4 prahara, the yuddha happened. But the crocodile didn't leave the elephant and it took him where his ears and nose started to sink beneath the water. Then he called Krishna. Then what happened? Dwarika me shabad gayo shor bhayo bhare. Shankh chakra gadha padma garudale sidhare. With Shankh chakra gadha padma, Krishna came fast on Garuda, it seems. See, to save his bhakta. See, and what does Surdas say? I am at your feet, O Lord. Please save me, he says. Why I am singing the song of Gajendra Moksha with regard to Maya? See, the Gajendra went to the shore of the river for a perfectly valid reason. What is that reason? Drink water. Nothing wrong in it. But the crocodile still caught hold of it. We also go into the world for perfectly valid reasons as Jiva, into the Jagat. What is that reason? I want to earn a little bit of money. I am a grahastha. I need a house. I need a car. I need good education for my children. I need good health. For perfectly valid reasons, we engage with the world. But the crocodile called desire, what it does? Catches hold of us and drags us in. This is what Maya does. Think what we should do about it. That we can talk about in the next few sessions that we are going to do, where we are going to talk about what to do about this Maya. Right? But for the moment, what does this, why is it a problem for Jiva Jagat Ishwar complex that Maya creates when there is only Brahman really there, partless, eternal, Shuddha, Buddha, Nitya, Chaitanya, Atman is there. Why it is a problem? This is the reason for the problem. And that is what is talked about in the next verse. Aghatita ghatana patayasi Maya. Aghatita ghatana patayasi Maya. Maya, which is adept at making the impossible happen, makes even those who have mastered the Vedas and Upanishads, Chaturvedi, Trivedi, Dvivedi, ये सब titles है. Use them as names now. Chaturvedi, Dvivedi, Trivedi were people who knew those many Vedas. Behave no better than 4-legged animals by tempting them with wealth and possessions. What a pity, he says. I am not saying 4-legged animals. Shankara is saying Kalushayati, he says. Kalushayati. Look at the Sanskrit verse. He says Kalushayati. How Kalushayati? Chatushpadadya bhinnan, no different than a four-legged animal. How? Dhanadi nidarshanena satyaha. See? U Shruti Shata Nigamanta Shodhakan. See? Hundreds of Vedas and Upanishads we have by hearted. But Paroksha Jnana has not become Aparoksha Anubhuti. Therefore, wealth and possessions still tempt. Think. So even though we are talking about Maya, even though we have defined Maya at great length, even though we have talked 1.5 hours about what is Maya, and we will talk another 4.5 hours more about what it does and how to get out of it. Will it make a blind bit of difference to Maya and its impact on us? Answer is no. We will still get caught in it again and again, unless we follow what the scriptures tell us to do. So the blind reading of Vedas, Upanishads, without, our Param Pujya Guruji says, Suna mana kiya to hi jana. Suna mana kiya to hi jana. You heard, you understood, you heard, you accepted. But only if it comes to karma, only if it percolates down to karni, to karma, will we really know what it means. Now, in classical Vedanta, remember, through karma, it is not possible to realize oneself. That is also true. But for the purpose of antakarana shuddhi, without going through nishkama karma, antakarana shuddhi not possible. So we might read in the Vedas and Upanishads whatever we want to read. We might read that we are not this body, mind, intellect. Mano, buddhya, ahankara, chittani naham. We might know Nirvana Shatakam by heart. But if I don't live like that, think, if what is mine and what is yours can also be mine, good. If I'm living like that, then he says you are no better than a four-legged animal. He is not denouncing the reading of Vedas or Upanishads, mind you. Very important to understand this. He is not saying that we should not read Vedas and Upanishads. Don't mistake that. But he is saying how much of it has percolated down to living. It is like putting 2 spoons of sugar into the coffee and not shaking that, mixing that sugar into the coffee. You put 2 spoons of sugar, you forgot to mix it and gave the coffee. They'll say, oh, the coffee is very pika. You know, there's no sugar in it. You say, no, I put the sugar. But you didn't mix the sugar. Think. So unless we put ourselves in a position where the knowledge of the Vedas and Upanishads percolate through me, become part of me, a new me emerges. When I look inside, there is no knowledge. Very different from Laukika Jnanam. Laukika Jnanam, math, science, commerce. Angry person, me, learns maths. Now, angry person knows maths. Angry person, me, learns geography. Angry person now knows geography. Angry person doesn't change. The Laukika Jnanam is additive. It is Arudha. It rides on the individual. Arudha. Think. Whereas Adhyatmic Jnanam of the Vedas and Upanishads, if they have to have an impact on Maya, they have to become immersive. They have to become percolative. They have to become one with my personality. And what is my personality but a bundle of habits? That's all it is. I am a bundle of 1,000,000 habits. That's all I am. So if my personality needs to change, what needs to change? Habits need to change. They are very difficult to change. Therefore, I add new habits to myself. So na mana kiya to hi jana. So however much I have mastered through this talk myself, right? However much I've revised and mastered what Maya Panchakam is telling, or what Panchadashi has said, or what Vivek Chudamani has said, or what Bhagavatam has said, or what Ramcharitmanas said about Maya. I might be able to repeat it verbatim, but it is of no consequence, because he says, behave no better than four-legged animals by tempting them with wealth and possessions. What a pity, he says, Shankara. So unless I am ready to form new habits, what habits we will talk about, but unless I am ready to form new habits, there is no use. This Maya will constantly befuddle me and finish me off. Now, previously I was a fool. Now I'll be a knowledgeable fool. That's all. I mean no disrespect to anybody who's reading Vedas or Upanishads, please. There are many who are living the Vedic Upanishadic dictums in their lives. Can we do that too? Is the question. How to do that? We will come to that when we talk about how to deal with Maya. That is the purpose of all the scriptures. You take any scripture, and how to deal with Maya can be talked about for years and years, because there are so many different methods, techniques, and pieces of wisdom we can apply to our lives to transform the way we live such that we deal with Maya effectively. Whether it be the path of bhakti, jnana, karma, dhyana, so many parts are told to get ourselves across Maya. But what he is talking about here, the mere reading of it for the purpose of becoming a jnani, meaning a person with knowledge, no use, he says. Think. So this is what Maya does. It makes me believe that I'm very knowledgeable, because I have given this talk on Maya now. So I must be knowledgeable about Maya. So I'm safe from Maya. If I think like that, then Maya has caught me. Because Nirapivana hetu gayo. I didn't go to this talk. Nitinji came and invited me that can you give a talk on Maya Panchakam? So it is not my desire at all. See, I'm just responding to Nitinji. But if out of that arises a feeling that I am this very knowledgeable person, I am this person with many people are going to hear, I will be finished personally. No better than four-legged animal. Shankara will talk about me then. Tempted by fame, tempted by name. Think. No, I must constantly remember that this is an opportunity given by Krishna for me to do revision of what I have read in the past. Why that revision is necessary? Because I'm constantly forgetting. Jivan Mukti Viveka says, satsang is very useful because the good people in the satsang will constantly revise for us the truths that have been told in the scriptures. And that revision is necessary because as I keep going into the world, that knowledge gets thinned out. Baru ki ret jaise Vasudha ko jaat hai. Another bhajan of Meera. Am I singing? The mountain made out of sand, when the waves hit it, how it slowly disintegrates and becomes flat. Think. So this is what Maya does. One, it creates Jiva Jagat Ishvara. The moment these three are there, I become the Alpagyan, the Alpa Shaktiman, the constantly desiring, constantly wanting person who thinks he is in bondage and therefore needs liberation, and many a time seeks that liberation or that permanent happiness where it is not in the Jagat. And therefore gets bound in this eternal transmigration of birth and death. Or having learned the Vedas and Upanishads, becomes Jnani Dhyani and starts to think of himself as knowledgeable, but is tempted by wealth, possessions. Wealth and possessions are only symbols. Wealth, possessions, maybe name, maybe fame, maybe opposite sex company, anything, right? Anything related to the senses, the mind, the intellect is fine. Wealth and possessions are only pratika, symbols. What a pity, he says. Maya does this, he says. Then what is the other thing that Maya does? This is the second verse of Maya Panchakam. What is the third verse of Maya Panchakam? It says Maya, which is adept at making the impossible happen. Aghatita ghatana patayasi Maya. It making the impossible. Makes what? Atman, which is the nature of bliss, pure and infinite. Satchit Ananda Swarupa hai, Atman. What it does? Ekam eva advitiya it is. What it does? It makes itself identify with the body, made up of the elements. See? Ether, air, fire, water and earth, and whirl intensely in the ocean of transmigratory existence. We talked about that, isn't it? This is what Maya does. This single verse, more after all these verses put together also, actually captures the story of our life. Think about it. The very story of our life is defined by these verses. The moment I identify myself with the body, what is happening? I think this world is real. The moment I think the world is real, what is happening? One desire is satisfied, 100 others are standing up. And what is happening? I am thinking that my happiness is just around the corner. Just around the corner. Speak to the school-going child. The school-going child will say, the school is very boring. You know, dung means I have to eat food. Dung means next period. Dung means I have to do homework. Very boring. Wait, I'm going to go to 11th, 12th, college. Fun. Where is my happiness? The moment I go to college, 11th, 12th, my happiness is there. Just around the corner. You go to college. Then what happens? Everybody tells you, 11th standard also, oh, very important. Your whole life is determined by how you do in 11th and 12th, especially if you're in science. Whole life is going to be which college you're going to go, which engineering, which doctorate, which NEET exam. Oh, very important. My God, whole world's pressure is on your shoulders now. So you feel, too pressuring. Not possible to be happier. When I'm going to be happy? Just wait when I get admission into IIT now. 1 crore salaries. Amazing. I'll be happy then. Just round the corner. Just round the corner, it is there, happiness. And you get admission into IIT. And you find out that that 1 crore salary is only for 2 people. In whole of the IIT. Now, your thing is, you want that 1 crore salary. You're not happy. IIT mein admission will be happy nahi hai. Kyun? When will I be happy? When I get that 1 crore salary. Just round the corner. And you got that 1 crore salary job. You were the person who got it. You went into office and find out everybody is sharpening their knife to put it into you because they see you as an upstart who's earning 1 crore. Just a new guy earning 1 crore. Isko girayenge hum. We will make him fall. They are sharpening their knives to put it into you. When will you be happy now? Job is stressed, tension filled. When you are going to marry your sweetheart from college now, full happiness. Just wait. Marriage is around the corner, just round. Then you marry her. Do I need to say what happens after marriage? And so life goes on. We think of this ocean of transmigratory existence as birth and death. We can think of it as the birth and death of desires. One desire satisfied, it dies. Another desire is born. Transmigratory existence within one life. Think. So what does Maya do? It hurls us into this transmigratory existence and makes us whirl round and round. The Lord says in Bhagavad Gita, my elusive power enters these people, and as if mounted on a machine, they go round and round, it says. As if mounted on a machine, they go round and round. Think. The moment the identification with the body happens, that's it. Game over. Maya is very happy now. It has achieved its purpose. Because from that moment onwards, for us, the world is real. Think. What is the solution? Picture abhi baki hai, like we say. Ye to trailer hai, right? So what is the solution? Wait. Let us understand when we define the problem very, very well, we understand the nature of the problem very, very well, then the solution fits nicely. So what we are doing now, problem definition. That's all we are doing, nothing more. So it is adept at making the impossible happen. What is this Brahman? Sat Chit Ananda. What is this body? Jada Shariraha. Jada Buddhihi. Jada Manaha. Everything is Jada only, inert. This inert is mixed with the Chaitanya. Can you imagine that mixture? It is an impossible mixture, but Maya makes it happen. See? Mutual superimposition happens. The Jada body borrows Chaitanya from Atman. And the Atman borrows Kartitvapana from the intellect. And then we start to feel, instead of saying I am Atma Brahman and Aham Brahmasmi, I start saying I am this body, mind, intellect. Then from the world, I extract my world. We are not bothered about the world. Always remember that. We are not bothered about the world. We are only bothered about my world. That's all we are interested in. My world. Think. Intensely in the transmigratory existence. Then what it does? Akatita Ghatana Patayasi Maya. What it does, which is skillful in appearing causes the appearance of notions and the passion for son, wife, house in this bliss consciousness, which is free from quality, color and taste. My God. देखो क्या करता है वो. अपगत गुण वर्ण जाति भेदे. गुण वर्ण जाति का भेद लेके आता है. It brings the bheda of guna varna and jadi. In what? In which there is no bheda. Sattva Raja Tama, Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Jati, and the various varna. Varna and ashrama, everything it brings, that bheda it brings in. See? And then it brings passion for son, wife and house, he says. Sphutayati, for what? Sutta Dara Geha Moham. Moham for Sutta Dara and Geha. Sutta, son, Dara, wife. Geha, house. In what? In that which has no distinctions, which has no attachment, which is akarta, which is abhokta. In that it brings all these notions. Imagine how amazing this Maya is. Think. It makes the impossible happen. In the last verse of Maya Panchakam, what it does? Eludes. Alas, he says, very much Hari and Hara and others, though wise, by introducing distinction of Brahma, Hari and Hara in the unitary reality. There is only one Brahman, and in that one Brahman, we Jivas bring about Brahman, Hari, Hara as distinctions. Brahmayati, he says. Brahmayati, Hari, Hara, Vibheda, Bhavan. Bhavan. Brahmayati. भ्रम पैदा करता है हमारे में क्या that there is a difference between Hari and Hara. That is why you have Shaivites and Vaishnavites fighting with each other without realizing that they are all emerging from the same unitary consciousness called Brahman. Think. So imagine what Maya does. So we started. Let's take a quick summary roundup before we pause and for questions, because I'm conscious of time. 12:37. So where did we start? We started with this piece about Maya and its definitions, Viveka Chudamani, where we talked about Maya as the power of the mind, Panchadashi definitions of Maya we talked about. From chapter 1 and chapter 6, we talked about the definitions of Maya from Panchadashi, how astonishingly powerful it is, how it is negligible for realized soul, how it is real for an ordinary person, and how it is anirvachani or indefinable for a sadhaka. Then we talked about Vedanta Sara definition of Maya and the Bhagavad Gita definition of Maya from chapter 7 verse 14. And then we talked about the definition of Maya from Bhagavatam, where we talked about Kavi Antariksha's reply to Raja Nimi as Maya being responsible for creation, maintenance, destruction. And from Eknathi Bhagavat, we heard Eknathi Maharaj tell us about how Maya is the flight of our imagination. We saw from Ramcharitmanas the beautiful answer of Sri Rama to Lakshmana, talking about the feeling of I, mine, yours, and you is Maya, and it holds sway over all created beings. Whatever is perceived by the senses and the mind is Maya. Then we saw the story of Narada, and then we went out to what Maya does. We saw the verses of Maya Panchakam. It takes and creates Jiva Jagat Ishwar where none exists. He talks about the persons who are jnanis, but still they don't have the jnana because they are tempted by Vastu Vyakti Paristiti. And then we talked about how it whirls us in the ocean of transmigratory existence, and it puts us in a position where we feel the distinctions of quality, color, caste, and we feel attached to son, wife, and house. And then we finally saw Maya Panchakam's 5th verse, which talked about how there is no distinction in Hara and Hari, but we make that distinction happen within us. And finally, Bhagavad Gita verse 25, Lord says, due to Maya, he says, I am not manifest to everyone because I am veiled by Yoga Maya. Hence, the ignorant do not realize me, recognize me, the unborn, imperishable, supreme deity, he says. Anurenu Tranukashta, the Lord is there. Imagine. In Anurenu Tranukashta, the Lord is there, but yet I am not able to see this Lord because he's veiled by this Yoga Maya. So sad. I live a life where I see Vastu Vyakti Paristiti, but not the substratum of that Vastu Vyakti Paristiti, which is the Lord. So I may see the Lord in my altar, but not in my wife or my child or my mother-in-law, surely not. Think. Our Param Pujya Guruji tells us it is okay to see the Lord in the altar to begin with, he says. But then you must rapidly start to see the Lord in the good people of this world, the saints, the gurus. See the Lord in them. And then he says, see them in the good and the bad people also, the rich and the poor people also, the high and the mighty, and the low and the powerless. See the Lord in all of them. So slowly expand our God consciousness to cover the entire universe. But with Yoga Maya veiling him, he says it is very difficult to see him. So we will pause there here today with a question to answer. How do we deal with this Maya? And that is what our next 2 talks will be about. We'll take some questions.
Thank you, Srinivasanji, for a wonderful summary introduction to Maya and very multifaceted. I think many people have this misconception that Maya is purely a concept in Shankara Vedanta. Your presentation has demystified, has busted this myth because you have shown that the notion is prevalent in many different texts, ranging from Tulsidas, Ramcharitmanas, and other texts. So wonderful presentation. We have a few questions. I'll just read a few of them. One of the questions is, there is a saying that without Lord Shiva's permission, even an ant will not move its feet, and all of our activities are defined by Brahma. So this means that even Maya is written by God only in our life. So why does God gives us Maya and also then realization for his own creations?
It's an excellent question, actually. It is true that Maya is God's power. But if you read Panchadashi, it makes it very, very clear that Maya is God's power. Now, if you ask, why did God then create Maya, put us in Maya, and thus told us, get out of Maya? The answer from a sadhaka's perspective is, it is Leela. That's all we can say. It is the Leela of the Lord that he created this whole universe, put us into the universe, and told us to get out. This is from a sadhaka's viewpoint. From a realized person's viewpoint, think about it, right? There is no universe. There is no Maya. See? Aham Brahmasmi, Sarvam Brahmamayam Re. This Sadashiv Brahmendra bhajan is there. Sarvam Brahmamayam Re. Kim Bhajaniyam, Kim Bhajaniyam. Who is singing the bhajan and on whom is the bhajan about? See, he is asking. Because there is no two. So, from the highest standpoint, there is no bondage and there is no liberation either, because we are ever liberated. It is only when I fall into ajnanam that I feel I am bonded and I need to liberate myself. Think. Right? So if you think about it from the perspective of the highest, there is no bondage, there is no liberation. Yes, from the perspective of the person who is in ajnana, there is bondage. And if you ask, why did God therefore, because if you're in bondage, there is Jiva, there is Jagat, and there is Ishvara. Then in that case, you have to ask the question, why did Ishvara put me into bondage? Then we have to say, it is Leela. Beyond that, we won't have any answers to that question. You know, Chinmayananda used to answer certain questions, some of the questions like this also, with a very very beautiful answer he used to say. He says, God knows. Let's ask him when we meet him. So that's what he used to say. So for some of these type of questions, God knows. We will have to ask him. It is Leela. Yeah.
Another question we have received is, how do we understand consciousness through the lens of Maya? Does consciousness have a tangible source in the brain or is it abstract?
Oh, consciousness is not abstract at all. Sat Chit Ananda is the nature of our very being, right? The problem is Maya has put us in a position where that which is Sat, what is Sat? Chit is Sat. See, in Sat Chit Ananda, when the Chit becomes the Sat, meaning when consciousness becomes my existence, then what remains? Ananda alone remains. Think about it. In Sat Chit Ananda, when Chit becomes Sat, Ananda alone remains. So, is Chit tangible? 100% tangible. It is not a concept. It is not something which we imagine. Because without that consciousness, this conversation is not possible. Think. This whole conversation is not possible. But what has Maya done? Maya has done the impossible. And what it has done? It has made that which is unreal to be very tangible. What is unreal? Brahma Satyam, Jagat Mithya, Jivo Brahmaiva Naparaha. So what is Satyam? Brahman is Satyam. What is Mithya? The world is Mithya. It has made the world tangible and made Brahman And what is Brahman but consciousness? Prajnanam, Brahma. Prajnanam, consciousness is Brahman. That has become intangible for us. That is the product of Maya. That is the effect of Maya. So if I understand that, then I will understand that for many sadhakas, consciousness is an intangible, whereas the world is tangible. That is the product of Maya. Otherwise, consciousness is really the only tangible thing which we have. When we think of mithya, now the other thing is, because the other question that arises from this answer when we say Brahma Satyam Jagat Mithya is, we say mithya means false. Then we say, if I do this, it pains, no? If I do this, it pains, right? If I do this to you, it will pain you also. If I pull here, I know this is my ear. I know this is my computer. This chair I'm sitting on is real, right? So what is this mithya? Mithya doesn't mean false at all. Many words in Sanskrit don't have direct translations into English. There are force fits. Mithya, false, wrong answer. Mithya's definition is, it was not, it is, it will not be. I will repeat. It was not, it is, it will not be, right? So the whole world is mithya, meaning it fits this definition. It was not, the computer was not, the computer is, one day it will not be. Whatever be the lifespan of the computer, it has to fit this law. The Viveka Chudamani says, Dehadi Brahma Paryantam. From this Deha to Brahma, everything fits this law of it was not, it is, it will not be. The time periods are different. So what is the only real thing? Prajnanam, consciousness. Everything else is subject to destruction. Mithya, therefore. Transient, temporary, call it. It was not, it is, it will not be, call it. It is mithya. So the real tangible thing that we can deal with is consciousness. See, if I ask you who you are, you will say, I am Srini, that is a name. I am a father, that is a role. I am a manager, I am a damager, I am this, I am that, I am that. So many things we will say. Every answer after that I am will be different. But what is common across all these? I am, I am, I am, I am, I am is common. That pulsating I am is that consciousness, is that prajna. We cannot run away from it.
Thank you, Srinivasanji. I think we can take one more question. What is an example of Maya achieving the impossible, and how to get out of Maya?
That is the very talk of tomorrow and day after, how to get out of Maya, because I wanted to have the bigger portion of my talk focused on how to get out of Maya, because that is what all our spiritual texts address us. And really at the highest level, the impossible thing that Maya does for us is it denies our true existence and makes us search for the impossible in the world. And what is that impossible? Permanent happiness is impossible. It makes us search for it in the world. You know, there is a beautiful story which we read in 5th or 6th standard called Mama Ki Ainak, meaning chashma, you know, the spectacle. So Mama had kept his ainak on his forehead. Okay. And he forgot it was on his forehead and he searched the whole house for it. Somebody came and saw the whole house was topsy-turvy. So they asked, Mama, hey, why is your house topsy-turvy? So Mama said, I have lost my spectacle and I'm searching for it. So the person said, hey, Mama, your spectacle is on your forehead. So the ainak was never lost. Like that, our happiness is never lost. But Maya, the impossible, the doer of impossible, makes us believe that we have lost our happiness and makes us search for it in the world outside. What an amazing thing.
Absolutely amazing example. I think the spectacle example, you know, clearly captures our journey for the search for the reality, the search for the Atman, search for moksha, which is already there.
So amazing, no?
This reminds me of one of the names of one of the principal students of Shankaracharya was Hasta Malaka.
Yeah,
He had the fruit Amalaka in hand. I mean, he had that much realization that it was as if the fruit in a hand.
correct.
Yeah, wonderful, sir. Thank you again on the behalf of Indica Moksha and all of our audience for this wonderful session. And we look forward to the second and third part of the sessions tomorrow and day after tomorrow. And viewers, if you have any more questions, please do attend tomorrow and day after tomorrow's session, and you can ask the questions there. Even otherwise, do attend. I think it will be very promising session, and Srinivasanji will be focusing on the most important part about how to get out of Maya, what is the magic behind, what is the trick behind that.
Yeah, I hope we can have an interesting session tomorrow and day after. Yeah.
Yes. Okay. I'm personally looking forward to this. Viewers, please do follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram for updates about various events that we do. With this, we conclude this session. Shri Guru Pyo Namaha.
Charan Sparsh to all.